What's up everyone? You're watching another week of Average Bros Media. If you don't already know, my name is Nick. Welcome back to the channel and special shout out to our new subscribers. We're seeing a bunch of new guys on the channel recently and I absolutely love it. You're keeping us going, so keep doing what you're doing. Now this week's video is going to be a little bit different, and to be perfectly honest with you guys, because we ran into a roadblock in installing some parts on Lewis's car. Now, have no fear, we're sorting through it, we're getting that all taken care of this week. So within the next 2 weeks, be on the lookout for that video. These are some parts that I know that some people are gonna really hate and other people are gonna love it. So I definitely wanna hear your thoughts when that video comes out. Now with that being said, given that we didn't have a video to put out this week because we ran into that issue, I was trying to think of a video that would be interesting to make for you guys and landed on the idea of doing kind of what I've learned from building my Subaru and now working on the 240. So this video is going to be kind of lessons on a project car and what I think that a car enthusiast can do to make that process go as smooth as possible and really get to the end result they want, not have the project die out midway through, lose motivation, that kind of thing. And then provide you guys a little update on where the 240 is at. But make sure you stay till the end. There is going to be a short little edit of the Subaru. I went out and shot at one of the places that I actually shot originally when we first started the channel. So I was really excited to go back out and shoot this place. So yeah. Make sure you stay to the end of the video, check that out, let me know what you think. So I think for anyone considering building a car of any sort, whether it's from a shell up or this is a daily driver that you want to start modifying, the most important thing you can do is think about what is your end goal with this car. Where do you want to see this car in a year from now, or whatever your timeline is? What is your end goal? What is the purpose this car is going to serve? Is it going to remain your daily driver that you just want to be a little bit more fun, handle a little better, look a little better? Is it going to be a dedicated track car for time attack or drifting? To really think about that end goal, because that's going to help you come up with a plan along the way. And by knowing your end goal, you can work backwards from there to come up with a plan of how you're going to get there, whether it be the timeline of parts, allocation of money, all of that. So by having a goal, make a plan. That is absolutely essential. Now that plan very well might change. For example, with the 240, my plans changed quite a bit. When I first got the car, if you saw that original video, I was talking about how I wanted to do it in kind of 4 segments. I wanted to focus on all the body work that the car needed, fixing any of the scratches or dents in the car, get the kit fitted to the car, any of the fab work like the tubs that we're doing in it, and then get the car painted. So from there it was ready to go and be assembled. And then we could focus on getting the engine in the car with the driveline, and then I think I said probably the suspension and then interior. Well, it's not as cut and dry as that. It's a little bit harder to do kind of one at a time. For example, like I had to get the engine in the car as well as the driveline so that we could make sure the transmission fit in the transmission tunnel so that I didn't inevitably end up painting the car and then banging out fresh paint in the transmission tunnel. Stuff like that kind of changes your plan along the way, but still by having that end goal, you can alter your plan to still make sure you're reaching that end goal and staying focused. So that is absolutely essential. Have a plan and know your end goal. Now the second lesson I've learned is to set a budget. Yes, I'm looking at you watching this video and I'm telling you, set a budget for your project car, set a budget for whatever build you're doing. It's gonna help you a lot in the long run. Now I say that because otherwise you're gonna end up like me, spend a bunch of money on the Wagon over a 4-year time period, add it up 4 years later and be like, holy shit, I have spent so much money. Now, if you watched the video where I talked about exactly how much money I've spent on that car, you know I don't regret any of that. I absolutely love the car, I love every mod that I've done to it. But that being said, I think had I set a budget from the start, then maybe I could have done it in a little bit more cost-effective manner, had a plan set out, so on and so forth. So yes, absolutely set a budget for your car. So the third thing on my list is staying organized. This applies from taking the car apart all the way to ordering new parts. Obviously, as you're taking a car apart, you want to make sure you know what parts go back where, you're not losing anything. It's going to make your life much easier. And a big focus for me, especially as I'm building this 240 from essentially the shell up, I need parts for just about everything because it's a bare shell. So as you can imagine, that is a ton of parts to be keeping track of all at once. So one of the things that I found that works really well for me is having spreadsheets to keep all of that organized. So for example, this spreadsheet, which I'll show you guys here, is broken out by category of parts. For me, I broke it out in a category for the engine, one for the transmission and driveline, one for the exterior and body, one for suspension and brakes, and one for the interior. And then from there, breaking out all the parts that I need for each of those categories within there and keeping track of what the price is on that item. So by keeping track of the price and the total per category, that's gonna help coming back to the idea of keeping within a budget, making sure you're falling within that budget and following that throughout the build. Now, this particular spreadsheet, I'm using it to keep track of parts that have been ordered, which you'll see in green, and then the parts that are not in green are parts that still need to be ordered. So that's helping me just keep track of what needs to be done and what parts I'm still waiting on or need to get. Now, I'm also using multiple different spreadsheets. This one that I'll show you guys here is just a more general list of all the parts that I need, and more so keeping track of what's been purchased and what's been paid for. So what's in green here is all paid in full. Anything that's in yellow has been ordered but isn't paid for. It's either on a credit card or say PayPal credit, which gives you 6 months of interest-free financing. So that's a great option as long as you can pay it off within those 6 months. If you can't pay it off within those 6 months, do not use an option like that unless you're willing to pay the high interest rate. So that's another way that I'm keeping track of the payment and making sure that I'm staying on top of not only getting the parts, but making sure they stay paid for. So definitely stay organized. That's gonna help a ton in the long run. Make sure you get all the parts that you need. You don't start to work on an install and realize you don't have this part that is then gonna take a week and delays you another week. It'll just make your life much, much easier. So the fourth and arguably most important thing on my list of lessons I've learned from building a project car is know up front that you're gonna have to make sacrifices to reach that end goal. As long as you know that you're gonna have to make those sacrifices along the way and you're okay with that up front, move right ahead, start building that dream car of yours. And now for most people, when it comes to limitations and the sacrifices you're gonna have to make, it comes down to money and time. For most people, neither of those things are an unlimited resource. So what are you willing to give up that you're doing elsewhere to allocate more time to the car? And same for the money. Where are you willing to cut costs and save money that you can allocate to your car and make sure that build goes according to plan? For me, when it comes to money and time, one of the big things is cutting back on my social life. Whether for better or worse, that's really what it comes down to. I spend much less time going out to the bars, going out to eat, all of those things, simply because I'd rather spend money on my car to get it where I want. And now a lot of people I hear from my friends all the time, hey Nick, where are you? Like, come out with us tonight. Like, what are you doing? And obviously I'm not saying never go out with your friends, but maybe it's not gonna be a weekly thing that you go out every Friday night or every Saturday night. And at the end of the day, I'm okay with that. No, it's not that I'm antisocial. I love going out with my friends, but at the end of the day, I want a badass drift car that I can take around and burn some rubber and make cool noises. It's as simple as that. So be aware that you need to make those sacrifices to begin with. If you're aware of that, acknowledge it up front, you're good to go, make it happen. Now, enough of that. Those are just the lessons that I've learned kind of along the way as I've been building this car that I want to share with you guys. But enough of that, I'll get off my high horse. Let's get a little update on where the 240 is. I know it's been a while since I've talked about the car, so I'm gonna show you guys some of the parts that I've gotten for it and let you know what the next steps are for that build. All right, so as you can see, I'm surrounded by a horde of parts. I've just been stashing parts away, trying to get this 240 build going. So last video you guys saw the 240, I was dropping it off at Hunter's shop for the fabrication work that I'm having done, the roll cage, tub fenders, and removable core support. So he's working on all of those. The tubs are actually in the car currently, just need a little bit of final work on those. And when I was at the shop yesterday, he was working on shaping the main hoop of the cage, which is actually the piece that goes behind the seat if you're not familiar with roll cages. So my goal is to have him kind of make all the piping for the cages, or for the cage, and then we'll go over there, film a video of him kind of from start to finish, putting that together to share with you guys what that process looks like. But we're making some good headway on the car. Kind of what's next for us is to get the engine and transmission mounted together. So once the adapter comes in for the CDO9 to 2JZ, we'll get that all bolted up, drop that in the car, make sure everything fits okay, get all the accessories mounted in the engine bay, that we have proper mounting for those, so that when we're done with all of that, the car is ready to go off to paint. So that's kind of a quick update of where it's at and what's next. Now for the parts that I've been stashing, these are just a few of them that I want to share with you guys. As far as seats for the car, I ended up getting 2 of the Bride Zeta 3 Type XL. So if you saw me in Japan in Up Garage, I actually sat in one of these seats that really just solidified that I absolutely needed one. Now as a kid, I always wanted a Bride seat. You'd see them everywhere in car magazines, that kind of thing. It was just kind of that name that I always wanted, and their products are great quality products, so it's not just a name thing. But these seats arrived and I was just blown away. I was totally fanboying and drooling over them. They look really, really great. The thing I like about this is just the subtle Bride print down the middle of it. The white Bride, it's classy, but also still makes a statement. Just a really, really awesome looking seat, and I cannot wait to get them in the car. Now with those, I'm using the Street Faction S chassis mounts. These ones don't have a slider in them just because I wanted to get real low profile. With me being tall, I want to make sure I have extra room for a helmet when I have the car on the track. But I can't say enough good things about this Street Faction product. They actually kind of hand delivered these to me in California while I was down there. So thanks for the customer service there, first of all. But the actual quality of this product, it's just well engineered. The fit and finish on it is amazing. I'm super blown away. I love what Street Faction is doing with their products and for the community, so I keep it up, you guys, and I will definitely be buying more products for the 240 from you down the road. Also got some stuff in from NRG, the quick release and the hub, so just need a steering wheel to get all that mounted up once we're ready to do that. Stoked on this stuff. And then the most recent package to come in was this from Excessive Manufacturing. So Excessive is down in Portland, and just for the quality of product, you really can't beat it. I was talking to Hunter about it, and he was saying he couldn't even make me this piece for the price that they sell it for. So none of this is sponsored. I just think they make a really great product. And so when it comes back to thinking about building a car on a budget or staying within a reasonable budget, they make some really great products for a bunch of different swaps out there and a bunch of different vehicles. So I would definitely check them out. But those are just some of the parts that I've been stashing. Definitely share more with you guys down the road, and I look forward to continuing to share the 240 build with you. I hope you enjoyed today's video, just talking a little bit more about the lessons I've learned in building a project car, and I hope those are applicable to some of you guys as you look to do the same, or are trying to figure out kind of how to get on track with your current build. But that being said, that's gonna wrap up today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, you can check us out on Instagram for more content throughout the week if you're just not getting enough with our weekly videos. But like I said, there is a video after this, just a quick little edit of the Wagon at a spot that I wanted to shoot at with the new camera and all that kind of stuff. So make sure you stick around, check that out, and otherwise, we'll see you next week.